Hi, my name is Kathleen with My Happy Stamping Place, and today I am going to be showing you two cards that we're making in my January Hybrid Stamp Club. So I'm going to turn the camera down and we'll get started. Okay, so this is the first card we're making. It's called the back fold card. And this is the Be from the Be Mine. Well, the whole stamp set's from the Be Mine suite in the Holiday 2024 Spring catalog. Not holiday, but spring catalog. This is the whole suite. So it has all these coordinating products, including designer paper, these flower gems, ribbon, stamp set, and a punch. And there's these cute little pillow boxes too. So I'm using this stamp set and punch, which is called the Be My Valentine. So let's get started. All right, so I'm taking my color inspiration from the Designer Series pack from the Be Mine suite. So the base is Poppy Parade. So here's, I'm gonna put all my pieces aside here. So this piece is cut, this is 5.5 by 7.5, and then it's scored, let's see, score lines are 3 1/4 and 6.5. So 3 1/4 and 6.5. I already have them scored. So I'm going to go ahead and fold on a score line. So we'll fold, and I'll take a bone folder and burnish the creases there. And then this one, we're going to fold backwards. That's why we call it the back fold card. Okay, so the card doesn't make a lot of sense like this. It doesn't make a lot of sense till you add the circle on it. So we'll go ahead and finish this card. So I'm taking a piece of the Designer Series paper. There's one side of this, and this is the honey jars, which I thought were so cute. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere this piece down. Just to the front panel. I'm going to center that on there. And then on the inside of the card, I'm going to take a piece of the basic white that's measured the same here and put it on the inside part for if you want to add a greeting. But before I do that, I just thought I should probably stamp that first. So in the inside, I'm going to do Happy Birthday. And I'm going to use, there are some greetings in here, but I wanted to make this, instead of like a Valentine's, just a Happy Birthday. So there is some different birthday greetings in this Go-To Greeting stamp set. So I'm going to grab, I already have it loaded on a block, this a little bit bigger, fancier Happy Birthday from this set. I use this one all the time. The Go-To Greetings is a very aptly named name of this stamp set, so at least for me. Because it has just like your basic happy birthdays, thank you, thinking of you, just a note. And they come in different sizes and fonts. And sometimes you want a bigger greeting, sometimes you want a smaller one. So it does become one of the stamps that I reach for the most. So I've got that Happy Birthday on there. Now I can go ahead and adhere. Now you could keep this blank inside if you wanted to, but I decided to make this a Happy Birthday. Okay, next up, I've already gone ahead and pre-die cut a piece of Poppy Parade in basic white. And this is coming from this die set. It's the Stylish Shapes die. So this is the one that comes with circles, different squares, and some different kind of tags for greetings. So I've gone ahead and done the two biggest circles from that. And I want to do some stamping on this basic white one. So this stamp set is a photopolymer set. So I like to use the foam pad underneath it to give it some cushion, and you get a better stamped image that way. So I'm going to take a variety of these and build the card. So there's this, can't see it really well, I'll show you on here. There's this grouping of 3 hearts, and I'm going to do a little bit of stamping on the background of that circle with that. And I'm going to pull again some ink colors that are in that Designer Series paper that I'm using on the card. So this is Flirty Flamingo. I'm going to take some of those and stamp it just there. And then I'm going to take the Poppy Parade. And that's the same color as my cardstock base too. And stamp some circles or hearts around the circle. And then I'm going to take one of the greetings that are in this stamp set, and it's the Love You, and I'll stamp that in the Memento ink. I like to do a greeting on the front of my card. I don't always do one on the middle of my card, but I like the way a greeting looks, kind of anchors. Oftentimes I'll do it in the black ink, the Tuxedo Black from Memento, and whatever card color combination that typically works. So I've got all those done, and next up I'm going to build the bee, and the bee comes with a punch, a coordinating punch. So first off, I'm going to stamp the stripes of the bee. I want to show you on this punch, you can stamp and punch the bee out in either direction. So I could choose to have a bee pointed this way, or it could be this way, depending upon where I did my stamping of my stripes. So this one's going this direction. Okay. And then I want to do, it comes with 4 different faces. Who would have thought a bee could have so many different expressions, huh? So we've got, this one's kind of the side eye. This is closed eyes. This is a smiley face, and this one's winking. So all the different, you could have all these different expressions on the bee's face. This time I'm going to do closed eyes and smiling. So there's that. Okay, and next up I'm going to do the wings. Now the wings are actually, let's see. Here's, well, you can't see them very well. I'll stamp them and then you'll see them. So I'm just going to stamp them on some basic whites. Let's get a scrap here. Take my bee and set it aside for a moment. And grab some scrap white. Stamp this. Now you want to be a little bit of aware when you're taking this punch of which way you need to angle the punch in to get your heart, your wings, and the main image. So the wings go kind of straight in. So you want to stamp that with that in mind. So it actually stamps or punches out in a heart, and you're just going to simply tuck that behind. So it ends up being wings, but yeah, the tip of the heart just gets tucked behind the bee. But you can also use it as a heart on its own too. And there's also in this stamp set a heart that you could stamp and punch out as well. So there's a lot of versatility in the set, lots of different greetings, lots of different faces. There's flowers, hearts, all kinds of different things when you play around with it. So that's the bee. Next, I'm going to take the bee and I'm going to pop it up with dimensionals on that circle. So grab a couple of those. And we'll do one on the wings as well. Position it where I want. And then I will take and go ahead and adhere that to the larger Poppy Parade red circle. Okay, we'll go back to my card here. Now there is also a designer piece strip right here that's going to go on this panel. So I'm going to go ahead and just add some adhesive to that. place that down. This all comes from that Bee Sweet collection. So this all coordinates nicely. And I'm going to take my circle, and it's going to go pretty much right on the edge of that back panel, but I only want to adhere it to that back panel. So make sure you're not putting adhesive here or you're not going to get your card open. So I'm just going to take and put some adhesive just on that edge, place it down on the card, and there you have how it is the back fold, like that. And then there's only one last step I'm going to add, and that is some of the pastel adhesive sequins. I'm going to add just a pink one wherever I feel like it needs it on here. Let's go here. And that just adds a nice little touch on there. So that's the first card. I want to show you, this is the original one, and the bee's facing this direction. And you can just as easily have the bee facing this direction and with a different face. So that's that. That's the first card. That's pretty simple. All right, let me get this cleaned up, and then I'll show you the second card. So that was nice and quick and easy, but just a little twist to it. Just a little something different. I love cards like that. They're really very simple, but they have a little unexpected twist to them. You could take many different stamp sets and get a different look depending upon the papers, the colors, the stamp set. You could use some dies, all kinds of possibilities there. I'm using my Stampin' Scrub. This is like my wash and dry. You just spray it down with the Stampin' Mist on one side, and then you can take your stamps to one edge. Now, if I'm using some of the more pigmented colored inks, I like to take my purple chamois and get the bulk of the ink off here first and then take it to there, because this is a lot easier to rinse out than the Stampin' Scrub. But the Stampin' Scrub really gets into the nooks and crannies of the stamp set, so I like to finish up with that. That's my personal preference. So I am just placing the stamps back down where they belong on the sheet. Really like that Stampin' Up! Has added these printed forms of all the stamps that are in the set. So you know if you're missing some or if you didn't put them back where they belonged. Let's see. Get that smiley face in there. Where are you? I've got a little company you can hear in the back is my son's cat, Fern. He's prowling around in all my stuff. All right, and then also the wings. Let's get those cleaned off and put away. This whole suite came out in the spring catalog that came out in January. The spring catalog runs for 4 months. So let's see, what does the date say? Usually it'll say on the front, through April 2024. All right, let me get all these blacks put away, and we'll go on to the next card. All right. So first I'll show you what this card looks like. It's called the Diagonal Fold Card. There it is. So how you do this one is you start out with a full 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock. This is Misty Moonlight. And what you want to do is take a pencil, and you're going to place the 8.5 by 11 edge along your grid paper or ruler or whatnot, and make a pencil mark at the 3-inch, and then simply flip it around to the other 8.5 by 11 side and make another 3-inch pencil mark. Next, I'm going to pull in my paper cutter, and I'm going to line up the 3-inch pencil marks in the groove here of the paper cutter, because that's where the blade will cut. So there's one pencil mark, and I'll angle this till I get the other pencil mark. And then I might need to do a little adjusting. Okay, that looks good. I'm going to take my cutting, and now this will make 2 cards of the angle card. All right, so I'll take one of them, and I want to do my scoring. So in order to do that, you're going to place the straight edge along my paper cutter also has a scoring tool, scoring blade. So you want to take and put the flat edge along, and you want the smaller angle on your left, and you're going to place it at the 3-inch mark. We're going to dock my cutting blade up here, and I'll just take the lighter one is the scoring blade, and I'll just take that along there and do some scoring. So that's at the 3-inch mark. And let's see, find my next, okay, and then you're gonna move it along to 6 3/4. Now this, on my Stampin' Up! Paper cutter, has a pull-out ruler arm, so I can go up to, it's like 17 inches. So I'm gonna move this along to the 6 3/4 inch mark. Again, take my score blade, score it, and that's all done. Okay, so next up, so the front of my card is going to be folded back this way, and then I'm going to take the other fold and fold it the opposite direction. So this is my card base. Pretty easy. Now I've got pieces of designer paper cut, and I'm going to show you how the angle is done with these. So the easiest way is to take your designer paper, and you want to keep like basically a 1/4 inch border around the whole thing. So I'm going to move that designer paper up to the edge here, keeping in mind the 1/4 inch all the way around. Hold that in place and flip it around. I'm going to take my paper snips and just cut along that diagonal edge with my paper snips. Then I can move that paper down, and it will have a border all the way around, and it will have that slanted edge. So this is the back panel. And I'm using the designer paper. This comes from the annual catalog, the main catalog. It's called Countryside Inn. I've used quite a bit of this, as you can see, but it's done in blue tones. I love blues. Blues are my favorite color. So of course I love this. Balmy blue, boho blue, misty moonlight, and night of navy. So those are the blues that are in there. All right, next I'm going to take another piece of that designer paper. And the middle panel is going to be this one here as you have it folded. This is where you want it to come. And you can use either side of this. I'm going to do this side. And again, take it and keep in mind that, you know, keeping kind of a even border all the way around. Move the paper up till it hits the edge there. Okay, hold it in place, flip it around, and just trim with your paper scissors along that diagonal edge, like that. And then when I move it down, it will leave a border all the way around. So now, again, when you have this folded, you're going to be able to see it. So that one's folded in like this. And then this is your final panel of designer paper. So the smallest piece is this blue stripe. Again, you could use the other side if you prefer. I like the blue stripe. So I'm going to take it and hold the paper so it's got a border all the way around. It's kind of meeting the top there. Hold it in place. Turn it around and cut the diagonal edge. and then adhere that down. Now remember, this gets folded so that it's placed like this. So now let's get this adhered down, trying to center it. So that's your basic card. Now I wanted to put a piece of basic white in here so that I can do any writing to the card recipient. So again, we're going to do the same thing with the basic white. I'm going to keep a border around the whole thing, move it up so that this edge meets the top. All right, move this over a little so that it's pretty even. Okay, hold it in place, flip it around, cut at an angle to follow your card. And then I can move it down and place that on. So this is what it's looking like. Okay, then you just need a focal point on your front. I'm using the Hooray for Surprises. I'm stamping this heart on some basic white with Misty Moonlight ink. And this is kind of a reverse image, so your images are actually recessed. And the other part is what you're actually stamping. So let me just get a piece of scrap basic white. Now again, this is a photopolymer set, so I want to make sure I put down a foam pad underneath so I get a good stamping. And also, because this is such a large surface area, sometimes it's easier to take your ink to the stamp and ink it around so you make sure you've got ink everywhere you need it. And then you can stamp it down nice and steady down on your card. Okay. Then you can die cut out. There's a heart that will die cut out, coordinating die set called Hooray for Surprises, same as the stamp set. I've already done that ahead of time, but I'm just showing you there's this heart that will die cut around there. So I'll pull that in since I've already done that. And I want to color this in just a little bit, the flowers. I'm taking light balmy blue in the Stampin' Blends, and I'll just go ahead and color those in just to add a little bit more contrast and interest on your card. Just a very easy color in. I always like coloring in with the alcohol markers, the Stampin' Blends, especially because they coordinate with our Stampin' Up paper, and it's just such a smooth colored image. It makes you look like a professional without having to be, and I'm certainly not. All right, let's get this on our focal point. And then I'm also wanting a greeting. I'm going to make this a birthday card once again. None of these images would, or none of these greetings would really fit this small area. So again, I went back to my go-to greetings stamp set that I used on the first card. And again, they have different sizes. So I took one of the smaller ones, the happy birthday, and I stamped it and I cut it out again with that same die set I used on the first card, the stylish shapes, and this time I used this little greeting flag there. So that's done ahead of time too. So let's just get this put together. Again, I'm going to pop these up with Stampin' Dimensionals because I think that always adds more interest when you can add some dimension. So we'll just place 3 of those down. I'm going to place that up towards the top, and then I'll put a couple on my greeting. All right. There's that. And then I also want to add just a little bit of interest with, again, I'm going to use that same sheet of pastel adhesive back sequins. So I'll just take one of the blues. The nice thing is that these are kind of holographic, so they kind of take on the shade of blue that I'm using. I'm going to place it just down here on the blue, and that just adds a little something. Oh, so here is our completed card. There's the original. Now I did place, I guess I could do that too, placed another one up on the top of the heart. Let's go ahead and do that. I'm sliding off with my take a pick putty end of my take your pick tool. Let's just put one up there like that. Okay, yeah, I do like that better. So there you go. That is your diagonal angle fold card. You can visit my blog at myhappyplace.typepad.com. I'll have these cards posted on there as well as on my Facebook page too, if you're a member on that. So thank you for joining me tonight. I hope you enjoyed that.